Good evening. Welcome to the new party. I'm Nora Christine.
I'm about to give a really unpopular opinion, and I'm sure it's going to be especially unpopular amongst women.
I'm Gray Mars. Break a record by being with 100 men in one day. And right after she was done, she recorded a documentary.
I'm a vegan weed. Call yourself fresh and wear the same weak ass turtleneck on every show. Goddamn. Then we got goddamn the Sudanese Sambo. Bruh, man.
And I'm Enzo. Bringing up in my lives is they're like, oh well, he's violating the Constitution by having a meme coin and him making money off it in office and everything like that. I was like, if that was the case, like there would be lawsuits up the ass and impeachment in court.
I'm skeptic. Like I always say, don't let anybody trample on your constitutional rights.
I'm Mia. That's not a correct power dynamic in my mind. Typically, the people that are trying to be removed are not in control. That's why they're easily being removed.
The government, states, they start putting these RICO acts on Diddy, all of these guys, and try to put it on these ongoing criminal organizations. I ain't never seen the government put a RICO act on the KKK.
Switch happened. Come on, man. You gotta acknowledge this. This is the problem that I have with elders like you, because you fail to acknowledge that this stuff has happened.
If we sit there and be old school, we gonna miss the boat. You know, a lot of this kids 19 years old buying houses with Bitcoin, buying Maserati.
Wow.
I think when it comes to the woman, if a man takes charge and he shows that he's logical,
same people. That's number two. That's all theater. This is WWF.
This is insane, the biggest story in politics today, but it's also entirely expected if you've been paying attention to the Republican Party since Donald Trump got into office. Leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked. And then it got leaked. They referred to black people as this and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about doing this to their enemies and driving them to do that. I can't say some of these things because of social media, but I am dedicated to not letting these people get away with it. So I'm going to show you their texts and then we're going to put a face to some of them. Right here, everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber, said PG. And that person is this guy, Peter Gunta. He was referencing a vote for him to take over this massive Republican organization, and he lost, by the way, and said anybody that votes no is going to be punished. And then BW says, when do we start bullying, dude? That guy is Bobby Walker, who has other really disgusting texts. And he says, if they vote for us, why would they be gassed? Then AK says, when do we bring that side out? That right there is Ann K. Katie. This person. And it actually gets worse. JM says, can we fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fit the blank aesthetic. That guy is Joe Maligno. And there he is right there. Vice President, Staten Island Young Republican Club. And notice all the reactions to the text messages as well. They line up with names, of course. And then Ann K. Katie also said, I'm ready to watch people, you know. William Hendricks, the Kansas Young Republicans vice chair, used these words and variations of racial slurs more than a dozen times in the chat. This is William Hendricks. You know, I'm really starting to see a theme with all these people. They all just look kind of similar, don't they? And the final one is this guy named Alex Dwyer saying, he did say my delegates I bring will vote for the most right-wing person. And then that Peter Gunta loser said, great, I love blank. And notice how Alex Dwyer put a smiley face on that text. He loved it. This is Alex Dwyer, by the way. I highly recommend you go read that Politico article because there's far more than I can fit into this one video, but it is truly appalling. This is the kind of rhetoric, the kind of behavior that Donald Trump has inspired. All of those people have sworn allegiance to Donald Trump. It's not by accident.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this panel show are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this channel, its affiliates, sponsors, or production team. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking around the topics discussed.
Described him as one of the most dangerous men on the face of the earth.
Welcome to the Man Cave. Welcome to the Man Cave. I'm Gray Mars.
Ken Billions, what's good?
Enzo.
So, Ken, you saw the video, you saw the text message. Do you think that, this is the norm for Republicans, or you just think, it's a private conversation that was leaked to the press?
I think this is a norm for people when people talk in private. Everybody's a little prejudiced when you're amongst your own tribe, when you're amongst when you're amongst people that you identify as your people, we all get a little loose with the mouth, right? Everybody gets a little loose with the mouth. Some people take it too far. So we got derogatory aunties, uncles. Our language changes, especially when we're talking to people that are from the same location as us. I am very on the fence about when private things are leaked to the public, because context is important. Because when I'm behind the scenes, my mouth is crazy. You know what I mean? When you get me in my comfort zone, I say off the wall shit. You know what I mean? And I'm with people that also talk like me, right? So I'm not offended by things that are said in private. So it's not a Republican thing. It's a human thing when we're in our element. I'm not easily offended though.
Mia, what do you think? Do you think this is a major blow to Republicans because they are accused of being racist all the time?
No. I mean, I'm gonna be in Ken's corner in this. I mean, everybody says out of pocket things with their friends. We all carry biases towards other people. I mean, I carry my own biases towards other groups of people, and I pop off at the mouth all the time, especially when I'm angry. And to be honest, a lot of people already consider Republicans or even conservatives as a whole to be racist. So, I mean, at this point in time, they have met the standard that people already have for them. So nobody should be surprised. I mean, they've met the standard. This isn't a shock to a lot of people.
And just to everybody watching, Nora just messaged me. She said YouTube is down. So if you can't see it, I guess you got to watch on X. Enzo, how do you feel about the Young Republican chat leak?
Oh, multiple things. One, I think it's a little weird that this was leaked, and they said, "Oh, well, what if this got out?" I'm gonna sit there and say maybe this was some type of setup. Two, I don't condone anything that these people said whatsoever. They don't represent the Republican base party whatsoever. This is an outside affiliate group that just wants to bring in people to the Republican Party. Obviously, that's not going to work with people talking like that. I don't condone anything any of those people said in the slightest. As a Republican, no, we are not the party of racism. We are not the party of any of that. There is no real party of racist people. I will sit there and say that. But most other thing that I want to say is these are not real Republicans to begin with at all. These are the Nick Fuentes fans, the Groypers, because that's exactly how all of them talk. Those aren't real Republicans. Those are the far left, as we call them. It's not anybody, it's affiliate. And now it's just their true colors are showing because Nick's all over the place again. So
okay. Heaven, I don't know if you heard the video. Were you able to see the video? And they were saying YouTube is down. Heaven, you can hear me?
I can see the video as well on YouTube. So it's fine.
What was your thoughts?
What video are you talking about?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, basically,
I know what you guys are talking about.
We were talking about the chat leak by the Young Republicans. Do you know the Young Republicans released the racist chat? So they basically said gas chamber stuff about Jews
and violent. And violent chat. It's not just racism that we're looking at. It's violence. They're calling for actual violence and unaliving and of people who just vote against them in their little election, if that's how they feel, just on that alone, and these are the people that are what, trying to run for office as Republicans, or it's from the ages of what, 18 to 40? That's what we're looking at. This is, regardless of what, if they want to call themselves Republicans or not, this is a large group of people who have not just racist, but violent intent towards other human beings, other Americans. And that in and of itself should terrify everyone.
Well, now that we're talking about, the press and everything like that, basically the Trump administration is being accused of suppressing reporters from being able to report on the Pentagon. But here's the video.
Correspondent. I have been covering the building since 2007. Up until this administration, we were allowed to walk in every part of the building. That allowed us to get a sense of the way the Pentagon operated and move about quite freely. In May, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth restricted our ability to move in the building to a few hallways on one floor and the food court. The most recent change is that the department is now requiring us to sign an agreement that could place limits on what we report and how we do it. If we want to cover the Pentagon, in the Pentagon, we have to, according to these rules, write what they want us to say is happening in the United States military. In a town like Washington, so often what you're doing is hearing news. When you're out in the field, you can see it, you can smell it, you can touch it, you can taste it. But the Pentagon offered a really unique experience because you could hear things through the hallway, get a sense of the environment and the tensions or the exuberance. I'll give you a concrete example. The day that the U.S. lost 13 service members in Afghanistan as the U.S. withdrawal was happening, I happened to be in the building, and you could just see the anguish on people's faces as the number of deaths kept growing, both for the U.S. military and for the hundreds of Afghans who were killed in that explosive. And so to understand the impact of the consequences of their decisions and to see it is really illuminating, because I think in that moment you could see it in the building that people felt a sense of responsibility and guilt. It's just something that a phone call can't replace. I have really found that the way you can really understand a story better and get it to a more accurate place is by interacting with the people who are part of that story, and being in the building really allowed us to do that. Because we were there and they could see us there, there was an unspoken message that the Pentagon was relaying to the troops, that they not only defended the First Amendment by wearing uniform and defending the Constitution, but by having us there. And so it invited people to feel like they could tell the military story to help us, the American public, understand it better. Ultimately, we'll know less about what the military is doing, despite the fact that more than 2 million people serve in this all-volunteer force. We'll know less about how much of our money they're spending and how they're spending it. And I think we'll have less accurate reporting ultimately, because we're having fewer avenues to understand and get to information.
Mia, this is your topic. How do you feel about the press being restricted? And the only news outlet to sign the new press access policy was One American News Network, OANN.
Yeah, at first, when I was first reading it, I'm like, this makes sense, restricting people from this area or that area that's secured. And then I kept reading and I'm like, what? The rules have always been for the last 65 plus years, they couldn't go in secured areas. They couldn't release classified information. So basically what Pete Hegseth has done hasn't really changed anything. They were never allowed in restricted areas. They were never allowed to have classified information or anything like that. So he hasn't really done much. But what he has done is essentially move out the microscope out from the DOD somewhere else. And I mean, they were throwing out terms where there was an implication of potential charges against some of these journalists for reporting the news, as they should. It's their First Amendment right. And the Supreme Court has found it is their First Amendment right to report the news adequately. And it just seems to me that we are moving towards a state media and not a free press. So for those viewers watching, I just want to list all of the news people, all of the news stations that have been kicked out. So we're talking ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox News, CNN, Washington Post, Reuters, Bloomberg, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, The Guardian, Politico, NPR, The Hill, The Atlantic, News Nation, which is pretty red leaning, and Newsmax, also very red leaning places, the Pentagon Press Association themselves. The Pentagon Press Association themselves is saying that there's something seedy going on here. The Washington Times as well. So it just seems to be that they are on some sort of, I don't know, I guess war path. So it originally started in January when they took over and they kicked a bunch of people out of the press office. And then those that were remaining in this press office were like, okay, so what's the clarification? What's going on here? They proceeded to kick the rest of them out of this press area for asking questions. And then now there's only 2 people allowed in this press office, which is in and of itself is a little bit on the seedier side. And like, if you have nothing to hide, then why would you not want people in this office? Why would you not want to correspond with them? And then the Pentagon as well, Pete Hegseth has not even done any sort of reporting with these people in 4 months. His press secretary, Kingsley, 2 months. I mean, it seems like we are a media blackout when it comes to the DOD, which raises questions. What is the DOD doing that they don't want us to find out? That's my biggest thing. What are you doing
on top of that, Mia?
Yeah.
On top of that, let's just add on another layer is that they have also fired every single legal expert in their field for each branch of the military. They have completely decimated the military's legal framework that they have, and how the military itself deals with any and all things, whether they're legal or illegal, i.e. the 4 Venezuelan boats that we should never have bombed. Had we had our JAG officer to advise on that, that probably wouldn't have happened. However, now they're cutting out the news, the press. So that tells you already that they're about to do really illegal things and they don't want anyone to see it.
I mean, you bring it. I feel like that's pretty valid. I mean, I don't want to think the worst of this administration, but the federal government as a whole has never really done great things across the world. And now they're restricting what little access they were giving historically. Now they have restricted that. Obviously, I do not want reporters walking around in secured places, getting hold of documents that are classified or anything like that. You know what I mean? At all. However, we need to caveat that with, we do have freedom of press in the United States. We are protected by the First Amendment, and the Supreme Court has stated the freedom of press, as long as you are not writing slanderous or defamatory things, you can say, you can say what you want to say as long as it's truthful. And it just feels like they're preparing for something that they don't want us to know.
I think this is a pendulum swing back, because if I'm gonna keep it a stack, during 2020, it was a lot of information being suppressed. You know what I mean? It was a lot of, you couldn't say certain things. You know what I mean? I don't want to act like this is one-sided, because during the last administration, I would genuinely talk to people and they knew nothing about Hunter Biden's laptop. Whether it's bullshit or not, they didn't know, because the channels that they were watching never talked about it. There was a total blackout. Then when it came to medical things, everyone knows what I'm talking about. People made decisions based on not even being informed. You couldn't even talk about it. You couldn't even push back on some of that. So I think this is just the pendulum swinging back the other way. Now, the scary thing, though, because this is what happened. Okay, since we're here, it's going to swing back the other way. Now, when it swings back the other way, what does that look like? Because it's going to swing back. So when it swings back the other way, it's going to swing back equally extreme. And what does that look like?
Before Enzo respond, I want to actually play what Pete Higgs said about this.
The question, because it was interesting to watch. We had a chance to go along on the historic trip of Middle East peace, which our generation of veterans never dreamed would be possible. So you would think that the Pentagon press corps of all press corps would be front and center across the board on wanting to give credit to the president for forging this kind of peace, and instead what they want to talk about is a policy about them, which simply says maybe the policy should look like the White House or other military installations where you have to wear a badge that identifies that you're press, or you can't just roam anywhere you want. It used to be, Mr. President, the press could go anywhere, pretty much anywhere in the Pentagon, the most classified area in the world. Or also that if they sign on to the credentialing, they're not going to try to get soldiers to break the law by giving them classified information. So it's common sense stuff, Mr. President. We're trying to make sure national security is respected, and we're proud of the policy.
What I'm going to say that's weird about this is that the military, it's a military job where you can be a reporter. So I wonder how they're going to like control that. And I know that for a fact because when I slept in a 60-man bay, he had to sleep right beside me. So I don't know how they're going to control like actual military people that are press. But Enzo, what do you think about what Pete Higgs has said?
I'm completely fine with it, to be honest with you. And I'm just going to revert back to the couple news stories that came out earlier this year, how legacy media has been covering Trump and his presidency for the last 10 years, no matter what he does good, in a negative light. That's why Caroline Lovett had certain news outlets restricted from the press room. Yes, you do have freedom of press, but it's still a privilege to report on the president. It's still a privilege to be in the Pentagon reporting on certain things. If they don't want to abide by the rules that's being put forward by the Secretary of War, then so be it. I don't see that as suppression of the press like we saw, like Ken said, like we saw from 2020 to 2024. Literally, that's still going on right now. I was just on TikTok talking about COVID, reading from documents that were given to us by the House Oversight Committee, and I got flagged for that and got taken down for that. Like there really is no freedom of speech anymore in this country, because if it doesn't fit a narrative, regardless right or left, you're going to get suppressed for it. I would love to see all legacy media get abolished altogether because they're partisan one way or the other. CNN, NBC, all them left-leaning, Fox News, Newsmax, right-leaning. I would rather see more independent journalists who do not have a bias, who's not paid by any political party whatsoever to report on the news, because at least you know when they report on it, like how we do here, you have multiple people from multiple sides, independent, Republican, Democrat, who report on things how we see it, how we like to see it, and it's not bias. I like that better instead of partisan news all day long. It's ridiculous. So maybe this will change something. Maybe this will bring out more independent news journalists and actually bring them into the Pentagon. I don't want to play into the fear mongering and say, well, it's going to be for seedy stuff and they're going to try to get away with stuff. No, I really see this as a revolution in media, because we already know legacy media has been dying over the last couple of years. So maybe this is the start of something new.
That is true. Independent media is growing a lot more, and it may surpass legacy media. So this is Trump going after ABC because he didn't like the way they treated JD Vance.
Your ABC fake news.
Brian,
First of all, congratulations.
I don't take questions from ABC fake news. After what you did with Stephanopoulos to the Vice President of the United States, I don't take questions from ABC fake news. Brian, go ahead. Yes.
Ken, is this appropriate? Should Trump be able to tell news media that he's not going to take questions?
I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but I think ride for your peoples. You know what I'm saying? I mean, ride for your peoples. JD was bouncing around questions. That was true. He did get cut off at the end. I'm not a fan of that. Or I could call it both ways. And ride for your peoples. That's if I'm in the cabinet, I feel very comfortable that that the commander in chief is going to speak up for me and stand up for me. So yeah.
Right. And like Enzo was saying, we're fair here, so we're going to talk about people saying that they're happy that Memphis got the federal government National Guard sent there. So this is what a lady in Memphis had to say about it.
And at this point, I don't give a damn. I'm not into politics. I'm not into all of that extra stuff that people be losing their life over. I ain't into all that. We human. Whatever. But I will say thank you to Trump for bringing these National Guards and doing what they doing down here in Memphis right now. You know, for the first time in 5 years, I've been in my home for 5 years. And for the first time, my kids have been able to play in the backyard and be able to do it comfortably. I haven't heard a gunshot in 2 weeks. I haven't seen strange people walk up and down the street. Just a few weeks ago, I had somebody walk on the side of my house. None of that action's going on. I haven't seen no young YNs at the store posted. I haven't seen an Infinity fly past me in weeks. I'm sitting on my porch right now, and I'm watching kids outside playing. People outside walking with their kids, stuff I ain't never seen before living in my neighborhood. But all because we feel safe in this environment, unfortunately, because of the things that are happening here in the city. I hate it had to be this way, but I'm happy. I'm happy. Honestly, I truly feel that this is just a band-aid to the problem. I don't think this is going to completely fix everything. But to have a moment of peace, just thank you, Jesus.
Enzo, how do you feel seeing her thank Trump for fixing her neighborhood?
I think it's great. Like, I'm going to keep saying what I've been saying from the beginning when we were talking about National Guard being in cities. Great. I'm happy to see that National Guard are going into red states where blue cities are the problem. This is going to do one of two things: fix the problem, and the police are going to be able to handle it after, or show that Democrats cannot run their cities, they cannot do it correctly, so they need to vote these people out so they can actually have correct people in place to keep the peace within their city. So I'm happy as hell. All these cities, Memphis was, I'm pretty sure, was like number 2 on the list of most violent cities in America. So I'm happy to see that. Put them in all the cities. Put them in all the cities. I don't care if they're red, blue, purple, black, whatever politically they are. Throw troops in there, let them clean it up, give the police the tools that they need to do to actually clean up their streets to make it safer for everybody. I agree with a safer America for all. Always will. And I agree wholeheartedly that this needed to be done at this point.
Heaven, do you think that she was right in the video?
Her feelings are valid. Her reality is valid. The legality of what the troops being there it's illegal. It's not what the troops are for. If what they need is police reform, they need better policing, community policing. If they had better community policing and focused on that, then there wouldn't be an issue like that. The National Guard is not trained to deal with these situations, which is, I've been saying from the beginning, it's illegal and they shouldn't be doing it, which they shouldn't. But there's other avenues. And if that's the case, then their own National Guard should have been called by their own governor. That's what should happen. There are actual avenues that should have gone through. If that's the case, and that's the route that the state wanted to go, they could have went that route, but they didn't. And that's the state's choice. If everybody's so state's choice, state's rights, this and that, we'll leave that to the states too. You shouldn't have one group of National Guards going into another state. That's an invasion. You can't do that. It's not the way the military works. Also, on that whole Pete Hegseth thing, the Pentagon is not that secure like y'all are thinking. That was the last duty station I worked, and it's really not as classified. There are a lot of classified spaces, but you need special credentials to get into those areas. Biometrics get scanned. So the Department of War is being extra.
This next clip, this young man talks about how his grandmother is affected with the National Guard troops in Chicago, but I'll let him explain how he feels about it.
Social media excellence. I want some type of award after this video. This is my grandmother. Her name is Annie Pearl. They call her Hattie because she wears a lot of hats. She lives in the Inglewood neighborhood in Chicago, historically known as one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in the city. You know how they rap about O-Block? Where she lives is about 0.5 miles away from there. When I talked to her this morning about what Donald Trump is doing, militarizing the police in these cities, having the FBI and the DA and all these other federal level officers running around in these cities, she said to me, but Joshua, if there are more police with more guns, won't the crime stop? Think about her living her entire life in Inglewood. When she walks out of her front door, she does not fear some white cop with a gun. She fears these little dudes running around in her neighborhood, shooting at stuff, selling drugs, trying to rob her house. I've been in her house when they try to break in. If you do not understand why she thinks this way, why she would think more cops would equal more safety, then you cannot talk to her about a solution in a way that will land with her because you don't understand her life. You also need to understand that she wants the crime to be gone worse than you. Worse than you, white policy wonk who lives in DC and reads the New York Times every day. Worse than you, liberal white man, poli-sci major who went to George Washington, has never seen the inside of a public school. She wants it worse than you. The only issue with her thinking is that the data don't back it up. The real world consequence of adding more police in her neighborhoods does not add more safety. We have 62 years of data that have already answered this question for us, coming from the National Policing Institute and others that say that the overall effect of militarizing the police and adding more police, the overall effect of police size on crime is so small that it barely meets measurable statistical significance. Meanwhile, they use your tax dollars to round up people and put them in jails that you pay for. And because those jails aren't doing any rehabbing, those people come out and repeat offend in your neighborhoods. And you get a shit ROI, return on investment. The only person getting a good return on investment is the person who owns the prisons. Why? You know why? Because the only thing that has actually been proven to stop crime is focusing on the economic determinants of crime, the economic conditions that create crime. And hip hop has been screaming this at you for years. Because without this drug, that's once. We still trying to keep mom smiling when the teeth stop showing in that's twice. But you ain't hear it. My sneak start leaning and my heat stop working and my heat start working. I'ma rob me a person. Stop right there. Those are the economic determinants of crime. If my sneak start leaning and my heat stop working, then my heat start working, I'ma rob me a person. I just saved you a 20-minute read on a 10-year study about the economic determinants of crime from the World Economic Forum. That's the summary. Hip-hop just summarized it in 14 seconds. So tell me, the same president that wants to put military on the street just passed a bill that takes away health care from 17 million Americans. What do you think that that'll do to crime? It takes food assistance from 10 million Americans. What do you think that that'll do to crime? It takes health care away from children. It raises taxes on the poor. What do you think that that'll do to crime? Were you listening? Pay attention to hip-hop. It'll tell you everything you need to know.
And it costs less to send an inmate to college than to send them to prison. So why is America have the most prisoners per capita than any other country?
Well, I mean, if we're going to be honest about if we're going to talk about capitalism, there's a bottom part of that. For it to really work, there has to be a lot of people effed up. That's just the reality of it, right? This is the same way there was a feudalistic culture, right? We have a class strata. And for this to work, there has to be somebody poor, right? And the fact to remain is when we're talking about crime, we only focus on violence, right? The real crime is people know how this happens. There's people in place that initiate this happening, right? So there's not like a big task force to go press the people that initiate this happening. We have some of the smartest scientists in the world. We have some of the smartest people in the world, right? If we wanted to fix this, we know how to fix it. But look, the National Guard, the three-letter organizations, what do they represent? Violence, right? So they send in violence to correct violence, right? They're not sending in people to teach people financial literacy. 9 times out of 10 as well, this is also a nutrition issue. People are on sugar and starch and aspartame and MSG. People are sick. So the YNs, I don't even like that, how they classify these 16, 17-year-olds. If you cut these young people open, what is their diet? So they're on sugar, they're on a bunch of bullshit, right? So you need to send these three-letter organizations into the people
to get the people that make this happen, because this makes people a lot of money. They don't want the cities safer. They don't want it nicer. This is a whole business model. Is black and brown and poor white death. And doctors make money off it. Funeral homes make money off it. Bail bondsmen make money off it. The prisons make money off it. That's more overtime for police. That's more overtime for fire departments. They don't want this fixed. It's capitalism. Black, brown, and poor white death and sickness is a business model.
Mia, why isn't the government using more financial means to solve issues rather than police force or, the National Guard?
Throwing money at an issue that the root of it isn't money. We've sunk hundreds of billions of dollars across the United States for the last 80 years in various cities, states, programs, and it's not most of it's not a money issue. Obviously, having economic advantages will lift you up out of poverty, keep you from being starving, keep you healthy, and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day as well, we have to address the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is somebody is raising these YNs, right? They're coming from somebody's womb. They're coming from somebody's home, whether it's low morality, whether it's a broken culture, whether it's something, we need to address the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is, why do some people come from poverty and be perfectly fine? When I mean perfectly fine, they don't think to shoot somebody and kill them for their wallet. They don't think to commit crimes. They say, hey, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to grind. I'm going to lift myself up. Millions of people complete that journey of lifting themselves up, even though the government should be there to make it economically feasible and easier for families. But I'm just saying the elephant in the room is somebody's raising these people to do these low moral, low vibrational things, and that should be addressed as well. I 100% agree with Ken, because they do it on purpose. They know, and we've proven this statistically, that if you can't read at a third grade level, what happens? You're going to end up in prison. They do that on purpose. They keep us dumb. They keep us poor, because that leaves three paths. You're either going to the military to escape, you're going to prison, or if you're extremely lucky, you may be able to lift yourself out. But most of the time you're not. You're staying in there and you're having babies, and it's a cycle. Or you're going into the military to help fight wars for rich men, because rich men never send their kids to the military. Not anymore. They used to back in the day, but not anymore. Their kids get to go to college while ours get to go to the military, or you end up in prison. But at the same time, we need to address, like I said, the elephant in the room is we are culpable for the actions of our children. I mean, these are our kids. These are our cousins. These are our nieces. These are our nephews. These are our neighbors that we may have lived next to for 15 years in the projects. And we're not addressing that. And I think that should be addressed as well.
So we talked about black fatigue last night. And so we're saying who raising the YN. So this black lady went viral. So I'll let y'all see her behavior.
Shut up. Find out. Okay. You shut up. Come and make me shut up. All y'all white motherfuckers come and make me shut up. All y'all white motherfuckers. Yeah, because y'all fucking talking because he's a white motherfucker. And I'm talking about a dog. If I don't want a dog to touch me, I don't have to let a dog touch me. If I don't want the dog to touch me. And man, you want to record too? I can record you too, man. You like recording? I can record you too. You should record yourself yelling. You like to record? I can record too. You want to record? Who the fuck is y'all? I pay my fucking MTA thing. I don't want no dog on me. I don't have to have a dog on me. You want to record? Huh? Miss Vanilla, you want to record? Come. Yeah, I said it. What the fuck you want to do?
Sorry, that nickname was kind of funny.
What going to do? And then you got a lot of shit to say. Let me record you too. Hi. I'm gonna record you too. All y'all motherfuckers got shit to say. I'm gonna record all of y'all. So what if my mouth is foul? I'm a fucking 46-year-old woman. If he come in there with a dog and is on me, I can say I don't want the dog on me. That dog should be in a motherfucking bag, motherfucking in the first place. You're 47 years old.
Very New York. Okay? I love it.
That's number one. So mind your business. Mind your motherfucking business. Fuck wrong with y'all? Fuck with me today. I'm getting off that Bedford. He getting off too. Nah, because nah. So I'm getting off that Bedford. I'm just letting you know. I was talking to my husband, bitch. What the fuck you talking about?
You're talking to the police real soon.
So call the police. Oh, now you want to act like a victim.
I got
You that's what y'all Negroes do, right? That's what y'all do. You want to talk shit, and now you want to be a male parent and act like a victim now. Oh, let me call the cops. You told me that you ain't the one to fuck with, right? Right? You was talking shit. Call the cops. Call them.
Don't threaten me with my dog.
Call them. I wouldn't give a fuck. Call them. You was talking a lot of shit. Sometimes the cops is upstairs. Call them. You did. You said I'm not the one to fuck with. Don't act like a victim. Don't. When you say you're not the one to fuck with, if your dog touch me, I can touch your dog. But if you saying you're not the one to fuck with, you telling me you about that shit. Come on.
I'm gonna be honest. I put $50 on her. I bet.
Go call it. Yeah, go call it. Yeah, that's why you don't talk shit.
I don't know once.
Right? And those New York girls, man. I don't mess with New York girls. They'll bop you with their phone outside the head. They don't care.
Get your dog off of her. Like, yeah, she can say what she wants.
Sometimes they upstairs too. Call them. Call them.
What if she's allergic?
Call them. You know my description too. I'll be upstairs waiting. Call.
This is gonna
you
be.
know she can fight. She was so confident. Like, call them. I'll be upstairs waiting. Call them. You know she's confident. I bet she's won a fight or two.
This is gonna be framed as black fatigue, but I must say though, like New York is not a real place, right? And it's a multicultural hell. You know what I mean? So like this even if it was a white dude on, if it was an Irish dude, you got all these people in this compact area, right? On a subway. New York is the craziest experiment that have ever existed, right? It is a multicultural hell. I don't know if this is black fatigue. That subway is a matrix in itself. So if you've never been on the subway in New York or DC, that is a whole different experience. You know what I mean? And you got a lot of people, mama just died, you just getting off work. It's people that's flipping and bouncing around, and people got a damn parakeet on their shoulder. It's Michael Jackson moonwalking on the train. It's so much stuff happening. This is not necessarily black fatigue. It's a multicultural hellhole. You know what I'm saying? In fairness, man.
Okay, for sure. Mia, you wanted to talk about the hood stuff, but you agreed with her? You agree with her acting like that?
Well, it's not about to be honest, Heaven brought up a good point. She could be allergic. For starters, she could be allergic. And to be honest, I don't really agree with animals being on the subway for that simple fact is, piss, shit, allergies, whatever. I mean, I will say I will make a concession for a parakeet because I think they're kind of cute. Or a parrot that talks and it'll talk to me. And I'll make a concession for that because that's cute.
Okay.
Okay, for sure.
But in her defense, I mean, we only saw part of the interaction. It's not like we saw the entire interaction. We don't know what was said before that or anything. And to be honest, I didn't really think it was that bad. She was telling him, like, no, you're not going to put your dog on me. Like, it's very New York. I agree with it. I mean, she wasn't crazy. It's not like she was throwing her phone at him. It's not like they were holding her back. She was just popping off at the mouth. And to be honest, sometimes you can't take me places because I'm the kind of person where if you shoulder check me, I don't deal with disrespect well. I'll be arrested. So I understand. I am way more quick to violence than she was.
Okay, so we're going to do both sides, and this one's for Enzo and Heaven.
So fucking had enough of wiggers and dude bros. It is okay to be white. It is okay to be white, intelligent, violent, dangerous, resourceful. It is okay to be those things. You don't need to talk like a black person to feel like a man. I see that all the time. The way that young white men ape the way that fucking black people talk, specifically black men. Want to know why? What does it mean to be cool? It means to be sexually charismatic. It means to be cool under pressure. physically dominant, capable of violence. And when young white men want to sound threatening, when they want to sound sexy, they emulate black men because they don't feel comfortable sounding like white men. Because to sound like a white man feels lame, dorky. To sound like a white man feels weak. Because there are no role models of a dangerous white man. Not like 100 years ago when you had Clint Eastwood. Not like 100 years ago when you had John Wayne. And people said, I want to be like Clint Eastwood. I want to be a badass like John Wayne. You know, or even for the Italians, I want to be like the mafia. Now what do we have? We have all these faggots. We have nothing. You have Adam Driver, who's a giant goof. You have Tom Holland, who's a girl who's cross-dressing and dating some mixed race fucking bitch. And she's walking all over him. You know, so it's like you have these white guys and their two options are to sound black, sound like a wigger,
mixed people
or sound like some dude bro, sports slob, lumpen prole. And we just need to get rid of all of that. We need white men to really embody who we are.
Yeah, he's back. He's back. He's back to the old Nick.
I know. We knew it was coming, right?
I just lost brain cells listening to that fucking idiot.
Right. You said you gave it for me and Enzo?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, unfortunately, we get to deal with Nick.
Think about what he said.
What I think about Nick said, I think Nick needs to shut the fuck up and like just stop talking on the internet, like straight up. Like I literally hate Nick. Like I hate him. I hate him. No, people are going to talk how they were raised in whatever environment they're in, not because they want to emulate black people, not because they want to emulate fucking some white dude and say, listen here, Buster, you better not mess with me. No, they're going to emulate whatever they were around. That's who they were around. They're not going to look at so-and-so and be like, oh, I want to be like the fucking mafia. For him to say that about the fucking Titans, fuck you, Nick. First off, mafia don't fucking exist. Shut up. Second off, you literally just sound so idiotic every time you fucking speak about stupid things like this. It literally makes my blood boil. And it's because his little community are the grapers who are probably like fucking like 18, 19-year-old little bros or wannabe finance bros who've never felt a woman's touch in their life, who are probably this fucking skinny. That's who he's talking to. He's like, you guys need to fight back. You guys need to actually do something so people don't make fun of you guys anymore on the internet. That's what he is. And I want to comment on Miss on the subway. Yo, for everybody out there, if you've never been to New York, that is a normal day, okay? I could tell stories of a dude getting his ass beat in one car, another guy doing a fucking headstand and breakdancing in one car, and another guy smoking a crack pipe in the next car. That's just a normal day. That's not black fatigue. That's just a normal day. She's definitely from Canarsie or Brooklyn Heights all day long. I can say it all day. That's where she's from. That's how people act there. You just got to experience it. It's literally hilarious. Just, if you don't want to hear it, put your fucking headphones on. Shut the fuck up. Nope, don't pay attention. That's New York in a nutshell.
For sure. Heaven, what you think?
Enzo had it right. Exactly. Nick needs to shut the fuck up. Look. Yes. Do people talk the way they like around grow, like who they grow up around? Yes, they grow up talking like that. Yes, but nobody I know says "gosh, golly, gee," but me, and I do that like on purpose, just because it's silly, and things like that. Be yourself. Don't try to be anybody else, and then you can feel masculine, white men. In yourselves. Is he projected? Like, does he not feel masculine? That was my whole thought, was like, what is this white men? You are white men? There's no white man that I have ever came across in my life that talks or acts different or acts black because they want to be cool or have sex appeal. I've never met anyone like that. Personally. However, I don't, he needs to just shut the fuck up and go somewhere. Can we take his mic away?
Yeah, so I completely agree with Enzo and Heaven. And, for a lot of people that don't know, Nick Fuentes went to Boston College, and that does not surprise me that he went to Boston College and came out racist because Boston is one of the most segregated cities you will ever be in. And I love Boston, and Heather can attest to this. Boston is wicked, 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 wicked segregated for sure. Like Black people are in one section, the Italians are in the other,
Italians
the Irish
are
are
on the
over
north
here.
end,
You know, I mean, like the north end is all Italians, south is all Irish, and Charlestown. I mean, Boston is super, super, super segregated. And Boston has a very seedy undertone of racism to it, which is crazy because it is the mecca of intelligence. I mean, MIT's there, Harvard's there, all of these colleges are there. So it's a literal mecca.
It's racism in sometimes. I think it's in like everybody communities with their community. And if you're from Boston, it's like a sibling rivalry kind of thing. Like you do not mess with anyone else from Boston. It doesn't matter what area you're from. If you come for somebody and they're from Massachusetts, even you're from where? Wait, even New England? No, yeah, okay, no, I got you. You're from Maine? Oh yeah, we're like family. It's right there. Yeah, no.
There's a book that kind of explains that dynamic. It's called White Trash by Nancy Eisenberg, and what she really highlights is the big, huge class divide among, first of all, the language of white is not even real. That comes from the Virginia colonies, right? But she highlights that that the people that Nick is talking about has always been used as a buffer class, right? They have always been used as a buffer class by the elites, you know, so he'll make it seem like that I'm the problem or a Mexican is the problem. They never look at Elon. They never look at the 1%ers. They never look up. They are buffer class, and their position is always to fight the bottom part, right? And they use whiteness as a dog whistle, but it's not even real. But there's a good book called White Trash by Nancy Eisenberg.
But yeah, I just wanted to say that about him going to Boston College and him having these views, because the second you figure out you went to Boston College, you're not surprised. I mean, Boston really is a very like sequestered, like Black Americans are all in Roxbury and West Roxbury. I mean, Revere now is all partially Hispanic, Indonesian, Asian. You go up to Lawrence, it's all Spanish. The signs are all in Spanish. If you can't speak Spanish, you don't like bodega food, don't even go.
All the athletes
it's all very sequestered and like piecemeal.
You gotta try bodega food, but that explains. Now I understand a lot more about him, understanding where that. So, oh wow! Now I'm like, I've never ran across those type of people. Now I know what white people he's talking about. Those ones.
But yeah, a lot of athletes say that when they travel to Boston, is one of the most racist cities. But here's the last clip, because I know you guys like conspiracies, but this is actually a funny one. I want to know what y'all think.
Overseas, you're sitting at a bar and they know what you're into, guys, gals, combination thereof, drugs, whatever, and they'll hook you up and you're thinking you're the stud, your wife's away, nobody will know, halfway around the world. You end up sleeping with somebody. Next day you're flying back to America, you know, you're front row at the church, and then you're getting ready to make a key vote, and somebody comes up and whispers in your ear, "Hey man, were you in a motel room with a girl in, you know, Istanbul or something?" And he's like, "Oh crap." He goes, "Man, we don't want that out." He goes, No, we don't. We're not going to put that out. He says, "If you can help us on this little bill though." Now that's the way they used to do it. And I'm not so certain they don't do that now.
This is not a conspiracy theory.
It's real life.
Yeah, Wizreal, that's what they do, right? So if you're ever wondering why it seems like a small area the size of New Jersey is running America, it's because of this, right? So when you're getting into office and powerful positions, you come into those positions with vices, right? Your vice might be women, men, girls, boys, whatever your vice is, you basically, right? And you come in to these public offices and you don't know what happened 10 hours before, right? And because we do a lot of questionable things, in the country that doesn't necessarily benefit Americans. It's just overall. This is not a conspiracy theory. Everybody from entertainment to athletes on the state level, federal level, everybody has a file on them. Everybody has a file on them.
Okay, so before everybody else respond, I'm gonna play, because that was Tucker Carlson doing that interview. This is him also talking about other unsavory things that Congress members are doing.
We're sleeping with each other?
There's a few.
Yeah.
But consensual.
Yeah, why
consensual adults who are out of their, relationships at this point.
Can you tell who the freaks are?
The freaks in Congress?
Yeah.
I can't. You know what? I'll say this to you. The freakiest member in Congress is a very good friend of mine.
Oh, she is?
He is.
He is?
But I would not. I don't want to go down this path. Let's just.
No, I won't. I'm not going to ask you about Nancy Mace. What is Nancy Mace like?
So that's not a conspiracy theory either. Like, so they just been paid just to do whatever they want, pretty much.
They suburban white people. They into all that swinger shit and all that weird shit. There ain't no conspiracy about that. Come on, let's be honest, guys.
Out here in Arizona,
and the blackmail shit. That's true. I mean, we all know about Roy Cohn. He did in New York with Donald Trump and everything like that. Let's be honest. They blackmailed everybody. I mean, Roy Cohn did. Donald Trump allegedly.
Oh yeah, the guy that basically trained them. That's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
For sure.
I'll talk shit about Roy Cohn.
All the people that that went to that island, that all happened to them, and that's how they ended up on that island.
Never went there. Ain't no record of that.
Some of the festivals that existed in Rome, like Saturnalia, that stuff exists now, right? So you have the cult of Dionysus that was about wine and pleasure and orgies and things like that, right? That still exists now. The ancient world is the modern world, and you get access to it the higher levels you go up in entertainment, on the state level, on the federal level, on the ministry level. It does not matter. This is what holds these relationships together. Secrets. I've seen you in a way that your wife and your husband and your children haven't seen you. This is held together by fraternity. You know what I'm saying? We hear it over and over again and think it's an isolated incident. Oh, Diddy, that's just one thing. No. Keep going. No, keep going. That's your pastor. That's your congressman. That's the women. That's everybody. It is a one big cabal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people want to see the rest of that interview that was on Tucker Carlson, because that guy, that senator, he basically said now what people do is they're compromised by foreign governments and they have multiple girlfriends and stuff like that, and they get them employment through the government to have them paid that way. So that's what they're saying is a new way of them blackmailing these people. But this was a great episode. If you're watching right now, click that subscribe button and hit the notification bell and know when we go live. For sure. Enzo, what's your final thoughts?
My final thoughts are it was a great episode. I'm surrounded pretty much on everything. Congress, Congress is freaky. Like I said, they suburban white people. They doing all types of weird shit. New York is not a real place. It never was, never will be. It's its own country at this point. What happens in New York just stays in New York. Just sit back and watch the ride, guys. That's all I gotta say tonight.
For sure. Heaven, what's your final thoughts? I forgot. You like to go last, my bad.
No. Oh no, I actually don't. I don't have thoughts because all of this is it's crazy. Get these perverts out of our congressional offices. Anybody on the list, I don't care who they are, take them all out. Get them all out of there.
Mia, what's your final thoughts?
This was a great episode. If you are not currently following this channel, please do follow this channel. Please like and subscribe. We are all on TikTok as well. Me, Enzo, Heaven, Ken, I believe you're on TikTok too, right? Gray on the new parties on TikTok. So please do follow us on all of the other platforms. And this was a really fun episode. Definitely a lot of laughs. I am glad to see that Nick is back to his usual shenanigans. Everything is right in the world. I knew him being neutral and being decent was only going to last so long. Good to see we called that one. Not much of a conspiracy there. I will say that children in America deserve to be able to play outside without fear of catching a stray bullet. And unfortunately, if that has to come about with extra National Guard or extra police in order to facilitate that, American children deserve to be safe. They deserve fresh air, clean water, and good food. And they just deserve to be able to have the ability to be outside and play. So I'm all for that. And I'm happy that there are quite a few residents that I've seen in Memphis that are taking advantage of the ability of being able to be outside and spend time with their families.
I don't know how recent that Nick Fuentes quick clip was. I know that I wanted to be fair, so we talk about all of each side of each race. So I don't know how recent that is.
But, I do have one more thought, Gray, though.
He was coming back. He was circling back to his usual self.
Right.
Okay, Heaven, go ahead.
That was it. That was my final thing, was that I missed y'all so much.
Oh, for sure. Heaven, thanks for coming back. Hope that you're well. Ken, what's your final thoughts?
My final thoughts are, when you get a chance, take a trip 15, 2,000, 3,000 years in the past and go from each Mesopotamian civilization, go to Babylon, go to Rome, go to Greece, go to ancient Egypt, go to Nubia, even go to Asia. And what I want you to do is lift the hood on the culty behavior of ancient people. I want you to look at their sex practices. I want you to look at their blood sacrifices. I want you to look at how they structured their societies politically. And then I want you to take those same things that you find in the past and superimpose it in the future. And when you think of LeBron, and when you think of Trump, and when you think of Hillary, Jay-Z, Beyonce, just know that they are in those same cults. They never disappeared, right? The ancient world is the world of now.
For sure. My final thoughts are, we talked about race basically because of what the young Republicans said in their chat. I'm around white people all the time. I'm the same person I am around white people, around black people. So you should just be comfortable in your own skin, and we should all just be able to understand each other. We do this every Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Please come back and check in with us. We'll be here again tomorrow. I don't know what Nora's talking about, but come back. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Have a good night. Man Cave.